The overwhelming offer passenger Laminu, Yamal Spaniard will replace Kylian Mbappe in Paris. Roberto Mancini is the new coach of Juventus, while Barcelona is making a crazy exchange of footballers with Atletico Madrid. And now we will discuss this and all the latest news and transfer rumors from the world of our favorite game. Friends, this is Dose of Football and the top 10 hottest news to this hour. Hurry up and charge your royal likes and subscribe to the channel. Well, I wish you a pleasant appetite and a pleasant viewing. Alvaro Morata showed his best side during his second arrival at Atletico Madrid. He scored a lot and assisted a lot. But of course, the main thing in it is not this. He linked the team's game, pulled out and saved balls in counterattacks with minimal support. Together with Griezmann, he was the main striking force of the team, including thanks to his insane work capacity. For Simeone, it turned out that the forward needs to work hard throughout the match, both pressing and retreating, and still find the strength to run forward. When the team regained control, Morata managed to do it, although before coming to Atletico, Morata thought about moving to Saudi Arabia or Major League Soccer, tired of the pressure at a higher level. Diego Simeone convinced Alvaro that he still has a lot to offer European football, but Morata still moved to Milan in the summer, and now he is playing in Galatasaray. Why is he tired of not getting the recognition he deserves, despite his contribution? He shares some blame for this. At Atletico, his reactions to fan hate only fueled their animosity towards him further. In the end, Alvaro regrets departing Atletico, stating, "If I could go back in time, I wouldn't have left. I should have planned better in the summer, but it's too late to change now. This whole issue bothered me during the European Championship. I needed to feel valued, and Cholo really wanted me to stay. My father and my agent told me that I was making a mistake. They said yes, it didn't help." Morata remained childish and impulsive. Instead of a thoughtful, rational decision, he gave in to emotions that prevailed at that moment. Now he's on loan at Galatasaray. He could still be playing for Atletico. Juventus fell apart on the home straight of Serie A, which is very unfortunate for the team. Turin needs to break into the top 4 to play in the Champions League next season. Bianconeri's economy will struggle without this. The club will have to sell players, including key ones, in the summer. And they really don't want to do this in the midst of a restructuring. Otherwise, the fans who have been waiting for the coup for a couple of years will curse the leadership and demand the return of Angela. Juve is making a significant effort to resolve the situation. As journalist Fabien Delaval reported, Bossa and Zebra have begun active work to get the team out of the crisis. Today, the club's sports director, Cristiana Giuntoli, held another conversation with Moto to discuss potential changes in team management. Moto requires defensive phase improvements and abandoning experimentation for established solutions. Ironically, as a result, the team's scheme may change to either 3 defenders or 4-3-3 with a defensive midfielder. Kolomani, Vlahovic, Eldis, Ilnikova, all for the best players to take the field in their most comfortable roles. Moto was also asked to listen more to the footballers. Cristiana Giuntoli will also hold one-on-one talks with the players, beginning with the team leaders, to understand the causes behind the recent losses. The coach's future likely hinges on what he discovers in his team discussions. With Fabrizio Romana discussing the coach's potential firing, it appears highly likely that it will happen. What's going on? The management, despite all the assurances that they believe in Motu, is already negotiating with another coach. According to Calciomercato, yesterday Turin bosses met with Roberto Mancini, the Italian national team coach. It's uncertain if Roberto is ready to return to club football, but Juventus' intentions are clear. The choice is risky and ambiguous. After the Saudi Arabia failure, Mancini will be highly motivated to prove he is still a top coach. The very fact of negotiations, despite the continuation of cooperation with Mota, speaks volumes, and we do not forget about Roman's words. We await Mancini's appointment after this season or possibly sooner. I suggest following the situation in our Telegram channel, where all updates appear immediately as they occur, so the link is in the description and in the pinned comment. Paris Saint-Germain hit incredible form and rightfully defeated Liverpool over 2 matches. The current football may be comparable only to the team's performance under Thomas Tuchel in the club's history. After being knocked out by Paris Saint-Germain, Liverpool's coach Arnold Slot stated that if the Princes continue to play like this and all their players stay in form, they will have a great chance of winning the Champions League. But bookmakers consider Barcelona the favorite. The French grant arrives and Lamine Yamal agrees with their view that we are the Champions League favorites. When the overall stage was over, I named Liverpool as the favorite because they took first place. Now after their departure, we have become the favorites, said Wenger. A year ago, Lionel could have ended up in Paris. They were ready to pay 25 million euros for him. But in Barca, they preferred to keep their young star, despite the club's financial crisis. Parisians have now altered their tactics. According to the publication, they are planning to sign Yamal as a free agent. According to Catalan media reports, Wenger has agreed with Barcelona to extend his contract as soon as he turns 18. But he's doing everything possible to prevent this. Above all, the princes are offering him a substantial sum to change teams. As much as they paid Kylian Mbappe, as you understand, this is significantly more than what Barca can offer. In addition, the French are putting pressure on his close players to prepare him to leave the club. I wouldn't be surprised if Parisians paid well for such services. What wouldn't you do just to sign Yamal? The selection method is very effective. As you know, a young player who is trusted is greatly influenced by the opinion of those around them. The passenger has made some progress. If the princes continue in the same spirit, what will happen? Neymar also previously stated that he would not leave Barty. What happened next is already history. During the return match of one of the quarterfinals of the European League against Fenerbahce, fans of the Scottish Rangers displayed a banner against Keep the Foreign v UK ideology further, Protect Europe. Fans clearly did not appreciate the increased attention to issues of social, racial, and gender justice. Fans want the football organization to primarily focus on football, but they do not agree with the opinion of the fans. Chifirin and Kampashko shifted the blame to the club, interpreting the banner as Russian and discriminatory, although formally it did not imply any discrimination or racism. Rangers issued an official statement in response. The club stated that the team should not be penalized for the actions of a few fans, and Rangers also denounced the fans' behavior. The club's open letter reads, "Beyond doubt, if in 2025 years, if you don't believe that absolutely everyone can support Rangers, be it at Ibrox or away, then this club is not for you, and you should immediately cease relations with it." It turns out everyone can support Rangers, even those who opposed Union of European Football Associations as WOKE ideology. Something doesn't add up here. Union of European Football Associations was embroiled in another controversy, suspected of fraud for disallowing Alvaro Morata's penalty kick for Real Madrid. It seems that in order to avoid claims from the athletes, Union of European Football Associations edited the video of the penalty, which the organization sent in support of the referee's decision. According to video editing expert Alex Soler, who spoke with Marca, this was the case. "I know how to edit. When I watched this video, it seems strange to me. The image quality is poor and the disappearing shadows. This seems very strange to me. There is no logical explanation. I have a theory that this video was edited." Soler analyzed the frame-by-frame recording. According to the expert, if he needed to lift Alvarez to the ball, he would have done it himself. The Atletico fan demands a rematch or penalty shootout. It would be okay if the referee simply made a mistake and Union of European Football Associations admitted it. If the union indeed covered up the referee's blunder, imagine the immense scandal that would ensue. President Matrasnikov Enrique Sheresa already hinted that Union of European Football Associations is not clean, but no one supported him. But if Union of European Football Associations' guilt is proven, many clubs will stand by his side, and then Union of European Football Associations will have to wriggle out. Possibly the matter may even go to a replay, although now it seems like some unrealistic, fantastic scenario. Could Mauricio Pochettino really make a comeback to Tottenham in London? The other day, the Argentine coach gave an open interview in which he talked about his intention to return to the coaching chair of Spurs. But this can happen much faster than originally expected. Tottenham is now in one of its worst periods since Daniel Levy took the presidential post. Such a bad tournament situation was only once in the fourth-year season, when Tottenham took the 14th line, scoring 25 points at the same time. The Spurs will likely set a negative record in the current campaign. They still need to score a lot of points, and ahead is just a hellish calendar. There are almost all competitors from the top of the tournament table. Ange Postecoglou is unlikely to coach Tottenham next season. His only hope to avoid being fired is qualifying for the Europa League. Daniel Levy wants the Australian to continue fighting for the international trophy. However, President Spoor is actively seeking a replacement. Various names have been mentioned, mainly from the Premier League, for example, Andani Iraola from Bournemouth and Marca Silou from Fulham. Both specialists undoubtedly know their business, but their appointment will not arouse as much interest as the return of Pochettino. And some media suggest that it is the Argentine who will next take on the responsibility of being Tottenham's head coach. And recently, he gave a compelling reason to talk about this Pochettino. He was in one of the London cafes, where he had a very nice chat, not just with an old acquaintance, but with an old acquaintance who runs Tottenham, that is, with Daniel Levy. It's possible they simply reminisced about when Spurs played in the Champions League final and contended for the Premier League title. They survived, but we weren't there personally. It's unlikely that Pochettino will leave his current position. And he, I remind you, is the head coach of the United States of America national team. However, combining two jobs is a rare occurrence in football. To illustrate this point, consider the recent example of Francesco Calzona, the Slovak national team coach who simultaneously worked at the Italian club Napoli. In short, we closely follow the contacts between Tottenham and Pochettino. These two simply suit each other perfectly. Due to injury, Lionel Messi will not play for Argentina's national team, leaving at the worst possible time. Playing against Brazil and Uruguay without the captain and main hope, and also without Lautaro Martinez and Paulo Dybala, is still a pleasure. On the other hand, it's a great test of the team's resilience and preparation for the near future. In a year or two, Messi will retire from the national team, as will LB Celeste. We must start gradually rebuilding the team now. Some of the work in this area is currently underway. Lionel from Cologne has already shown that the team can cope even without Messi. That's why the team became world champion, despite previous unsuccessful World Cups with Lionel. They saw a savior, played only through him, and constantly hoped, waiting for Messi to score even from the center of the field, just give him the ball. If Lionel had a poor game or faced intense man marking, then that's it, forget about it, it's over. Now Messi is more of a symbol. The team plays not only through him, but primarily for him. The Argentines rallied around Lionel at the World Cup, but they didn't press him, didn't demand the impossible, didn't try to give him every pass. And therefore they achieved the goal that was impossible for previous versions of the team to focus on Messi. Argentina's future looks bright with its team of young, ambitious, and intelligent individuals. This season, Nick Kappa became the main creative force of Coma, and next he will be playing for real. Another Argentinian star is rising, allowing Messi to relax and watch the national team games as a fan, or fight as bodyguard with Logan Paul. As you remember, the American YouTuber offered Messi to fight him over a lawsuit between energy drinks and those belonging to Paul and Messi respectively. Lionel has not responded to Logan's challenge, but Messi's bodyguard Yosin Chueco posted a video from the gym, in which he stated that he is ready to fight with the blogger. Messi doesn't even know who this guy is. If Logan really wants to fight, he can fight with me, not with a footballer. Now this fight will be much more real, and I even know who will win. Despite Paul's experience, remember that Chuco, a Special Forces soldier, will definitely find a way to surprise him. Jadon Sancho's underperformance at Borussia Dortmund has caused fans to criticize Erik ten Hag. He says he's disappointed a top footballer, leaving the team without its strongest attacker. The accusations are unjust. Sancho was kicked out of Manchester United, not because of his game, but because of a lack of discipline. Ten Hag didn't need a footballer who shirks work and training. Jadon always had problems with discipline. In Borussia, he often came late to training due to staying up playing FIFA. At Chelsea, Sancho started off healthy, but ends up in a slump. He hasn't shown anything in the recent matches. In a recent game against Copenhagen, Sancho made his first strike since December 26th. Chelsea is understandably doubting if purchasing the Englishman is worthwhile. Remember, he technically still belongs to Manchester United, they're just leasing him. However, Chelsea is obligated to buy him if the team finishes above 14th place. As you understand, the Blues should have no problem achieving this and should be able to secure a winger. However, according to the newspaper, the Londoners are planning to refuse the buyout. They would prefer to pay the penalty rather than keep a high-paid player without the necessary impact. Manchester and United oppose this outcome but are powerless to change it. According to information, in such a case, the club management will allow Ruben Amorim to decide what to do with Sancho, try to restore his optimal conditions, or let him drift further. The Portuguese will continue pushing the club to save money, and Sancho's £300,000 weekly salary is hardly frugal. So I'm betting that Amorim will prefer to get rid of the player. Mauricio Pochettino unexpectedly took over the United States national team for many. According to the coach, it's due to the upcoming World Championship in the country. Plus, the Argentine wanted to challenge himself, try something new like football, teams. It's unlikely that the Americans will win the trophy, despite the support of the homestands. Of course, having their own field is a significant advantage, but the team simply lacks the class to stand up to the eminent competitors. Even with Pochettino at the helm of the team, I'm sure the Americans will put on a good show and play some attractive football. They might even make it to the quarterfinals, which would be more than a success for the team. However, Gianni Infantino believes that the United States team could even win the World Cup. Donald Trump asked FIFA President Infantino about the Eagles' chances in the tournament. Infantino replied that with fan support, the United States could win, as their players are on some of the world's best teams. Trump ironically remarked, "Johnny knows what to say," suggesting Infantino was merely attempting to gain favor. Meanwhile, Infantino could only smile even though Trump publicly humiliated him. Johnny's response was very unsatisfactory. Mauricio Pochettino, an Argentine, expressed disappointment with President Donald Trump's response during a conversation with Gianni Infantino. "He should have told our president, 'You need to ask your wonderful coach Pochettino, because he can certainly express a better opinion.' In general, Pochettino soberly assesses the team's chances. I think Trump also understands that the team's trophy is not shining." Yes, and Infantino, but in this story he still looks pitiful. I read a very interesting news about a shocking transfer to Barcelona with the same shocking conditions. The deal seems unlikely, but I just can't help but share it. You've probably heard more than once about the phenomenon of Julian Alvarez this season. If before the leader of Atletico Madrid was Antoine Griezmann, in the new campaign the Frenchman's positions have faded and the Argentine winger has come to the fore. He's just such a footballer who doesn't care from what position and under what circumstances to score. Such as Nagi Seixeira, if you understand what I mean. We're discussing his move to Barcelona. The Catalans have shown interest in Alvarez multiple times before. They were thinking about buying him in the summer, but something didn't work out then. Most likely, they simply didn't have enough money. Now they are ready to negotiate with Atletico about the transfer of the Argentine. Of course, it is expected that his price will be higher than it was a year ago. According to some information, millions of euros have already been offered for him, and it's done by Liverpool. Moreover, the scouts decided to supplement their offer with Darwin Núñez. That is, Barcelona needs to focus on a sum of 150 million if they really need the Argentine. But even in the current, relatively not bad position, the Catalans cannot afford such expenses. That's why they also want to include their footballers in the deal to offset the cost. This is where the most interesting part begins. According to the source, Barcelona might swap Alvarez for Gavi and Ferran Torres with an extra payment from their end. Imagine, Semen is probably already wetting his pants at the opportunity to train Gavi, a player who fully meets his requirements. I repeat, I'm not sure how realistic this transfer is. But Gavi is no ordinary Barcelona player. As an academy graduate who has always fought for the club's emblem, he evokes sympathy with his on-field dedication. If he is handed over to one of the main rivals in the league, I can imagine how shocked the Catalan fans will be. By the way, it would be interesting to hear the opinion of local Barcelona fans. Is Alvarez worth losing Gavi? I remind you that I respond to all comments in the first hour after publication. So, go for it. During the match with Marseille, Paris Saint-Germain fans put up banners against Adrien Rabiot, former player of the Princes, and his mother. The fans' banner read, "Age has no fear, the bitch passes from mother to son, truth for men, betrayal for sluts, such a mother, such a son." In addition, the Parisian ultras whistled every time Rabiot touched the ball. Adrien was even more upset, considering that he led Marseille on the field as the team's captain. The behavior of the Parisian fans caused an incredible resonance in France. Adrien's mother said she would file a complaint against Paris Saint-Germain and Marseille will support her. Veronica Rabo stated, "I wouldn't go so far as to assert that everything was organized by Nasser Al-Khelaifi. I don't think it was planned, but I think his share of responsibility is obviously there. We know perfectly well that this was known in advance. I myself received a corresponding message." Veronica noted that there were ministers at the stadium and demanded that they express themselves as journalists, and they supported her. Agenda of the France Assembly. Expert Christophe Dugarry blamed Al-Khelaifi and Passage for ignoring the situation, saying they bear full responsibility despite being banners and not drawing attention to it. Philippe Diallo, head of the French Football Federation, defended Adrien and his mother, stating that no player's family should be attacked. And there is a line that cannot be crossed. The provocateurs and Marseille Mayor Benoit Payan's direct attacks on footballer Adrien Rabiot and his family are unacceptable. All my support to the player and his mother. Such behavior is unacceptable. Football should always unite us. I demand a clear reaction from the league and the Passage. Judging by the pressure and scale of the scandal, Parisians will not be able to avoid consequences, and Ligue 1 will severely punish the club. That's all for today. Thanks for watching and for subscribing to the channel. My name is Kirill Kasta. This was your daily dose of football. Peace to your home and your hangar friends.